I have a question. What is true freedom in gaming? Is it an open world where you're free to go anywhere and do whatever you want? Is it sprawling cities where you can spend virtual money to buy fast cars and houses? Or is it the freedom to fully customize your character with different builds and appearances? But is that true freedom, or just an illusion of it? Most of these worlds that claim to offer such freedom are as wide as a lake, but as shallow as a puddle. Because no matter how wide the world is, or how many options you're given, most of those choices are still predefined. You're not creating your own path, you're just choosing from a pre-existing one. And that's where a different kind of game comes in. Immersive sims.
We're waiting on a specialist.
I'm your specialist.
Heard so. They found pig.
There were a couple of NSF on the second floor. I took care of the situation.
What about the hostages?
Dead, but I played by the book. No deals with terrorists.
Games built not around giving you choices, but around giving you systems. Systems that interact, overlap, and respond to you in ways that feel unpredictable. Wait. What? Where player agency isn't picking an option, it's about inventing one. In these games, the world isn't something you just exist in, but something you can truly manipulate. I want to go back to 2012, a time where I was still in school during arguably one of the best years in gaming. A lot of the games that year were great and helped define genres. Yeah, anyway, Dishonored is a game that allows you to take over the body of a fish, infiltrate a stronghold and kill anyone in any way as you please, all for the sake of revenge. Dishonored is a game that thrives on breaking the conventions of traditional game design. It gives you a simple objective and an array of tools within a deeply immersive world, then lets you decide on how everything unfolds. Anything is possible. And it's this design philosophy that cemented its place among some of the most respected games of its time, and why it's still talked about today. Developed by Arkane Studios, the game came at a critical moment. During development, the studio was on the verge of collapse. Dishonored wasn't just another project, it was their last chance, and despite that pressure, the team poured everything they had into it. What they created didn't just succeed, it saved the studio. So let's dive down into the plague streets of Dunwall and unravel exactly why Dishonored is a masterpiece.
Steady hand. That's it. Watch it. Cast off line. Casting off. We're away.
The story begins with us returning home.
Sending the Empress's bodyguard away for a couple of months. That's unusual.
We play as Corvo Antano, the Lord Protector to the Empress, and he's bringing some bad news with him. You see, Corvo was away for a few months attempting to seek help from other cities. Dunwall is currently suffering from a plague and there's no cure in sight. More than half the population are now dead and it's only going to get worse. No one else can help them.
I'm not that bad. Some people pull through, right? Don't they?
1 in 1,000.
10,000 probably.
On our way to the Empress, we run into Emily Colbin, the Empress's daughter. She offers a game of hide and seek, which is basically a tutorial on the basics of stealth, and I said no. Sorry mate, I've played these games before, I know what I'm doing.
Okay, that did not work.
As we arrive with the bad news, we overhear the Spy Master discussing some kind of different approach to the plague, and she instantly rejects it. And based on his Voldemort looking arse, it probably involves killing a lot of people rather than curing.
Corvo, 2 days early, full of surprises, as usual.
We hand over the bad news to the Empress, and she doesn't take it well, even fearing the other cities will blockade Dunwall and will wait for everything to blow over. In other words, until there's nothing left.
Are you okay, Mother? You seem sad.
Yes, don't worry, darling. Mother is fine. Wait, where are the guards? Who sent them away?
Mother, look! What are they doing on the rooftop?
What? Emily, come here!
Out of absolutely nowhere, assassins just appear right in front of us, and we go into Lord Protector mode. Oh my god, they attack so quickly! Oh my gosh. This moment not only serves as a basic combat tutorial, but it sets up the main plotline of the story in brutal fashion.
Corvo, thank you. If you hadn't been here...
Just when we thought she was safe, the assassins come back and subdue Corvo, making him witness the abduction of Emily and the murder of Jessamine.
Corvo, it's all coming apart. Find Emily. Protect her. You're the only one. You'll know what to do. Won't you? Corvo.
And look who finally decides to show up after all that chaos. The Spy Master and High Overseer. I wonder what these two knuckleheads were up to. With Corvo being the only one by the body, they immediately accuse him of the assassination and wrongly arrest him. The game transitions to Corvo being tortured right in front of his accusers. 6 months have passed and they have failed to force a confession out of him, but it doesn't matter anymore. Tomorrow we will be executed. So before that moment comes, these two not so obvious bullshitters decide to reveal the truth. They had the Empress assassinated so they could take control of Dunwall, and since we arrived 2 days earlier than expected, we became the fall guy.
You were in the wrong place at the right time, and someone has to take the fall.
Release me! Now sitting in our cell and counting the hours before we get beheaded, a guard brings over some food and claims it's from a friend. And what kind of friend sends bread for our last meal? Is he taking the piss? Oh, there's a key under it. Though the cell is open, we're still not out the woods just yet. The prison serves as an extended tutorial on stealth, but let me tell you a secret. Stealth is entirely optional. I'll get to that in just a moment. Stealth is as basic as it gets, for now at least. Crouching makes you harder to spot, and shadows will keep you hidden from a certain distance. If guards are in your way, you can decide between knocking them unconscious or straight up game ending them. You will find a perfectly placed sword outside your cell, but if you want to keep your hands clean, you don't actually have to take it if you don't want to. But what's stopping you from absolutely slaughtering everyone and throwing stealth out the window? Well, nothing. Dishonored is only a stealth game if you want it to be. So if you really want to be a sadist, you can kill everyone in this game. Take this level as an example. Now, the AI isn't special. Well, not these guys at least. They're complete pushovers, and that's for a very good reason. They're just grunts for the City Watch, as basic as it gets in terms of the soldiers you encounter. They're easy to predict, rarely block, and are only equipped with a sword. And since Corvo is considered the greatest swordsman in the whole of Dunwall, they're no match. This is lore accurate Corvo you're witnessing. Of course, it goes both ways. If you want to keep your hands clean, you can spare everyone in the prison, which doesn't sound as fun, but trust me, keeping your hands clean is a challenge within itself. Eventually, we blast our way out of the prison and head down into the sewers. I am moving through this pretty quickly because, let's be honest, this is still the tutorial. The good stuff comes after this. The sewers give you a brief introduction to the lovely rats that have been bringing Dunwall down to its knees. In swarms, they attack you and the sword ain't going to cut it, so it's best to just avoid them. There's also this cool moment where we have to use the body to distract a swarm to open a gate. It's fun stuff like this that really adds a bit of depth to the rats in this game. The plague isn't just something you hear about in the background. You will actively see the culprits roaming the streets and consuming bodies in rundown areas, really hammering home just how bad it's really gotten. Not only do they add to the story, but they do serve a gameplay purpose too, but more on that later. Eventually, we stumble upon a briefcase with a note attached to it, addressed to us. It's from a group who call themselves the Loyalists, and they claim they share a common purpose. They aim to find Emily and take back control from the traitors, but they need our help to do so. To get us ready for this mission, they have crafted our specialised equipment fit for the job, including the Assassin's Blade, stat track, factory new. We take the gear without question, and continue onwards to meet a boatman named Samuel at the end. Guards have followed us down here in an attempt to capture us. They're easy to get by, and before you know it, daylight and fresh air.
I'm Samuel, and I work for some good people who want very much to meet you. They said you'd come out here. I could still hardly believe it.
With no other option, we decide to travel Samuel to figure out what exactly we're getting ourselves into. After an unknown amount of time has passed, we find ourselves in the Old Port District, an extremely run-down area and remains basically emptied after it was placed under quarantine. Most of the roads have been blocked leading into this place, making it hard to not only leave but enter, which obviously provides the perfect hiding place for the Loyalists. Docking at the Hound Pit's pub, we step inside and find two gentlemen discussing our escape.
This isn't one of your fancy dress parties. The reality is that we need men killed. Have you ever killed a man?
Only with my wit. But it's a fair point as always. He'll be here soon and I'm looking forward to meeting him.
The man of the hour is here.
This is Admiral Havelock and Lord Pendleton, two leaders of the Loyalists and the ones who orchestrated our escape. They waste no time laying out their intentions. While we were locked away, they had been building a coalition to overthrow the Lord Regent's tyranny and reinstate the Empire. To do that, they need our help finding Emily and destroying those responsible for this.
We've got big plans, but we can't do any of it without you. We need your skills, your ability in a fight.
Before getting any rest, we quickly introduce ourselves to Piero, a master craftsman who will build and sell everything you need for your missions, but most importantly, something to conceal your identity. Well, not until we refuel the workshop with some more whale oil. He warns us that whale oil is extremely sensitive and will explode if dropped. So I quickly tested that theory and sure enough, he's right. Delivery. It's a quick introduction to whale oil. It powers the majority of defences in the game and is quite an effective weapon if thrown or shot. It's useful stuff.
Your senses, man.
Once refueling his workshop, Piero gets back to working on the finishing touches on our assassin's mask. And this thing is both terrifying and badass. It resembles a human skull but with some very industrial flavour. It's masterfully crafted for an assassin. Not only is it meant to strike fear into your enemies, but it also has a built-in spy optic that will allow you to observe from a distance and even listen in on conversations.
Is it? I think that last one was moving.
Corvo's mask is easily one of the most memorable things from the Dishonored franchise. Even though you rarely ever see it, its design is that good. No wonder they put this thing on the box art. It's haunting yet very intriguing to look at. Originally, Arkane was going to give Corvo a generic gas mask, the same one the assassins wore in the intro, which does make sense I guess. It resembles a plague mask from the bubonic plague, and that would have been fitting, but it would have been nowhere near as memorable as this. Piero makes some final adjustments, and we head on upstairs to get some sleep. We're now in some bizarre sort of dream. It's an empty void with many destroyed structures and even whales suspended in the air. Inside this dream, we find the body of Empress Jessamine, along with a note saying we cannot save her repeating. Further along the path, we see the Lord Regent looking down at a map of Dunwall with frustration, and then this. We see two men with Emily, two faces we have never seen before. That's when it becomes clear, this isn't a dream, it's a visit.
Hello, Corvo. Your life has taken a turn, has it not?
This is the Outsider, a supernatural being who watches the world from the void. This weird amalgamation of structures is how he perceives it. He knows every corner of it and the dark history involved. He's coming to us because he finds Corvo fascinating. In just a brief moment, he lost everything, and he can see how determined he is to get it back. But he's not here to help, so to speak. In reality, he's just fucking bored, and he just wants to see how far we'll go whilst harnessing a small chunk of his power. So to make his empty void interesting, he gives us his mark, allowing us to use the power of the void to fight back and reclaim what is rightly ours. But you know what they say, with great power comes great responsibility. Our actions will decide the fate of Dunwall, so this mark is either a gift from the void or a curse that will destroy an empire. That's exactly what he wants to find out for himself.
Use this newfound power. My gift to you.
That's not the only thing he gives us though. In order to increase the power of the mark, we must seek runes in the world using this heart. It will show you exactly where to find them, but it will also reveal information about places you visit and reveal secrets from any person you use it on.
Her servant wages will not be enough to fix her father's debts. He has killed whales and men for profit and pleasure.
What makes this somewhat disturbing is the voice coming from it sounds like Jessamine.
Someday this place will devour all the lights in the sky.
It's implied this heart belongs to her and, in a twisted way, was preserved by the void to reflect on the empire she reigned over.
He tried to seize control of the military after the Empress. After the Empress was murdered.
After traversing this broken world, we finally find what the heart has been calling us to. Old whale bones decorated with the Outsider's mark on it. Either they have some sort of connection with the void, or perhaps a cruel reflection of how the Empire gains power through the brutal harvesting of whale ore. The rune itself is made up of zodiac signs and in the form of a compass. It's purposely cryptic. What we're holding is forbidden knowledge of something incomprehensible.
How you use what I have given you falls upon you, as it has to the others before you. And now I return you to your world, but know that I will be watching with great interest.
After securing some power from our gods, we have a meeting with Havelock and discuss the target we will be eliminating. First on the chopping block is the High Overseer, Titus Campbell, the man in charge of the Abbey of the Everyman, a militant religious order that sees the Outsider and anything connected to him as heresy. To them, the void isn't power, it's a threat. Yeah, anyway, this religious army is fully backing the Lord Regent, and is essentially policing Dunwall for him. So if we remove Campbell, the Lord Regent would lose support. And while we're there, we must release Overseer Martin from captivity, since he is one of the loyalists who will take the High Overseer position. Just before leaving, Callista greets us by the stairs to the docks with a special request. Her uncle is a captain for the City Watch and believes his life is in danger. So while we deal with Campbell, she wants us to ensure his safety.
My uncle's not corruptible like the rest of them. Campbell is going to poison my uncle. Do you think you could protect him?
With the plan set, it's time to get it moving. We meet Samuel on the dock and begin moving towards our first target. We arrive in the Distillery District, an industrial part of Dunwall riddled with crime, poverty and what's left of the plague. When the outbreak first hit, this place was devastated. Overpopulation made it one of the hardest hit areas in the city. Since then, things have stabilised, at least on the surface. Most survivors were evacuated. The infected were dumped into the flooded district, and the City Watch sealed the whole place off. not to protect people here, but to protect the wealthier districts nearby. To help count the amount of people dying from the plague, they're hiring people from poorer districts to count the bodies for them. It's incredibly bleak. With the streets blocked and law barely holding on, it didn't take long for a local gang to step in and take control, and it's not long before we run into them ourselves. Oh, okay. As we step off Samuel's boat, we're immediately greeted by the City Watch dumping bodies onto a barge, just throwing them from a careless height and cracking jokes with each one with no respect.
Well, he ain't moving no more.
People who died from the plague are treated no differently to the rats that infest the city, and it's moments like this that show just how strong Dishonored's world building really is. Because you don't need a cutscene to understand what's going on here, you can just look. The way people are treated, the state of the streets, what's been preserved and what's been left to rot. It tells you everything, and with the heart, you can go even deeper. It reveals things about the world and the secrets people keep. Even the nameless characters feel like they have a story, and for a moment, you almost forget about Corvo's situation. He's not the only one going through it.
Men like you, walking the streets with weapons? We don't need that.
He spies on his neighbors and reports to the overseers.
Oh, so he's a fucking snitch. The first level likes to keep things pretty basic in terms of level design, and that's a good thing. Instead of immediately overwhelming you with options, it slowly eases you into it to show what's possible. Up on the main street, the road leading into the more wealthier part is being blocked off by an electrical wall, known as the Wall of Light. And want to guess what happens when you get near it? Well, you don't have to, because as you get close to it, the game whips out some of that observational storytelling.
For the generous loan of their services.
How subtle. Yeah, this thing will cook your ass if you go anywhere near it, as it's programmed to attack anyone not from the City Watch. So what do? Well, you can go around it by simply climbing the wall, but with the guards patrolling the area, it's not exactly easy. Unless you have one of the best mechanics I've seen in a stealth game. A short-range teleport that allows you to move instantly across rooftops, ledges, or straight behind enemies. And it pairs perfectly with agility, which is a passive skill that gives you double jump. It completely changes how the game feels. Traversal becomes effortless. All the usual clunkiness of stealth games just disappears. It also means you can play at whatever pace you want. Take it slow, stay hidden, move carefully, or be aggressive. Jump between enemies, close the distance instantly, take them out before they even react. And if things go wrong, Blink gets you out just as quickly.
Citizens and visitors free.
What the fuck? What was that? What the fuck? I've never seen that happen before. Oh, this game can be a comedy sometimes, I swear. It's the reason why I never felt the need to save scum in Dishonored, because no situation ever feels completely out of your control. This power alone makes you feel like a badass. You can pull off some crazy shit with this. And once you get used to it, it's hard to imagine playing without it. The possibilities are endless. Of course, it doesn't come without a cost. Every power uses mana, and depending on what you're doing, you can burn through it pretty quickly. You can top it up with elixirs, either found throughout the level or bought from Piero. But if you want to conserve it, there are other ways around the Wall of Light. You can disable it outright by removing the fuel cell, or if you're feeling a bit devious, you can rewire it. Rewiring flips the system completely, so instead of targeting you, it targets everyone else. So if you want to clear out an area with minimal effort, this is easily one of the fastest ways to do it, because the AI, well, they're not geniuses. Make a bit of noise and they will happily walk straight into it, one by one. It takes a few of their mates getting fried before one of them finally thinks, yeah, maybe not. If you want to avoid conflict altogether, you can slip through the back streets, far less guarded and a much stealthier route. It's here you run into an interesting character.
Dear, Is that you, my dear husband?
So word on the streets is that her name is Granny Rags, an old woman with more than a few loose screws. She's been having some trouble with the local gang running the district, and of course, they show up mid-conversation. Naturally, she wants us to deal with them, fair enough. So I introduce them to one of my favourite tools in the game, the Spring Razor. Dickhead, see you later. A nice little alternative to grenades. Place it on a surface or even a person and it will turn anything nearby into mince. It's not throwable, technically, but if you attach it to something that is, you've basically made a Spring Razor grenade. What? Results may vary. It's perfect if you're going for that slightly more brutal approach to stealth. And honestly, there's something very funny about sticking one on some poor bloke and watching him explode a second later.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Once these lads have been dealt with, she rewards us with a single rune, but a second one can be found down these stairs, sitting on a shrine for the outsider, and sure enough, picking it up triggers a conversation with the emo himself.
Be careful, Corvo. They call her Granny Rags.
And decides to share some information about Granny Rags. She was once an aristocrat who was desired by many wealthy men, including an emperor, and for some reason she's now living in the slums. It's odd, but apparently she chose a different path altogether. And I mean, if this shrine isn't obvious what that choice was, I'd say perhaps she dabbled in black magic, but who's to say? Before leaving, she does offer a side mission to us, and that's dealing with the Bottle Street gang. She wants to destroy their main source of income, that being their bootleg elixir distillery. To do this, we just need to grab a rat sample from Dr. Garvani's house, which can be found in the nicer part of this shithole. There are a few guards patrolling outside, but with Blink, you can easily slip in through a balcony. Inside, it's just a maid and a single guard, so getting what we need isn't that much trouble. This place is a perfect example of why Dishonored's level design feels so grounded. It actually feels like somewhere someone might live, and that philosophy carries across the entire game. Not just with homes, but with guard posts, barracks. Every environment is designed to feel believable while still supporting gameplay. Items are stored where you expect them to be. Cupboards, lockers, desks, and keys, they're usually nearby. Sometimes on guards, sometimes hidden in plain sight. So if you run into a locked door, chances are the solution isn't far. And sure enough, the guard downstairs just happens to have the key we need. Of course, keys aren't the only way in. There are always other options, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's grab the sample from this Scooby-Doo looking room and go poison a distillery. Their base can be found near Granny Rags, and there are a shit ton of gang members just casually strolling around this area. And the problem is, there's only one way into the distillery, and that's the front door. So either you go in fighting, or you find a way to slip in unnoticed. There isn't a whole lot to find inside other than loose loot and coins. However, with the heart equipped, it reveals a bone charm. These are basically passive skills that only improve your character ever so slightly, but there are certain ones that are a game changer. For example, one makes you run faster with your weapons drawn, and a different one dramatically increases your attack speed. And in my opinion, the best bone charm is the one that allows you to choke people quicker, perfect for a clean playthrough. There are a bunch of them in the world for you to find, some more useful than others, and they do change the way you play the game. Anyway, we can find the distillery in the cellar and we spike it with Ratatouille. Once the deed is done, you begin to question yourself. Is this the wrong thing to do? Yes and no. The answer's in the grey area. The Bottle Street gang ruthlessly run this area and extort people for protection money, even though they're the only dangerous thing in this district, not including the plague of course. Not only that, they're creating a bootleg version of Elixir that is mostly watered down and selling it to people who believe it will help remedy the plague. That does sound cruel, but who else is going to do it? Elixirs are being reserved for the wealthy, and that obviously means the less fortunate don't have an option but to buy from the Bottle Street gang. They're obviously not aware it's a bootleg version, but some of the legit formula is present. The leader of this gang is a morally grey character. Yes, he is somewhat scamming people, but at least he's doing more than the City Watch. So what we're doing here is bound to cause problems for us later. It's just a matter of time. we inform Granny Rags the job is done, and she rewards us with a second rune. Nice. Now back to the main task at hand. In order to reach Holger Square, we must follow the road from the boulevard and enter a new area. This is where we find Overseer Martin, one of the loyalists. He's being punished for speaking against the High Overseer. You see, Campbell is only in the High Overseer position through gaining power with blackmail. He's also a big hypocrite and enforces the 7 strictures with an iron fist despite him breaking them very often himself. The man clearly isn't fit for the job, so it's a good thing we're here. We rescue Martin, and this is where he gives us an insider scoop. Campbell is apparently going to be meeting with Captain Colonel very soon and intends to poison him. This is one of the many ways you can silently deal with him, we just have to get inside the building first. Basically, just look high and low and you're bound to find a way in. The safest option is along the edge of the building. This way, you can sneak into the second floor without being detected, but once you're inside, it's only narrow hallways from there. Good thing electrical lines give you a nice stealth approach once you're inside, and you can basically enter majority of the rooms safely. If you're feeling a bit wacky, you could try the front door. There's a lot more resistance, and honestly, it's not the greatest idea unless you're looking for a fight. Just so you know, these guys are much more equipped for a fight than the common City Watch guards. The third option is through the dog kennels in the basement, but it is just as dangerous. There are a few guards patrolling down here, and one even has a dog. If you're trying to stack some coins, there is a bunch of loot down here for you to find, and it even takes you straight into the main building where Campbell is. Just through this door, you will find a statue you can interact with, and it reveals Campbell's hidden chambers, where he clearly gets up to no good with prostitutes. The man isn't as faithful as he claims to be. This room will become important later, and I did encounter a rather bizarre glitch, but I'll get into that in just a moment. This building has the highest concentration of guards you will see so far, and dealing with them up close can get risky because you never know when someone's going to turn a corner. So it helps to keep your distance, and that's where Corvo's crossbow comes in. It's easily one of the best stealth tools in the game. You can use it to kill or to safely tranquilize enemies from afar. Just remember to move their bodies. It's quiet, reliable, and incredibly versatile. Even the bolts themselves are useful, since they make noise on impact. You can use them to distract guards or lure them away from certain areas. They can also trigger or break objects, so you're constantly finding new ways to use it. And once you unlock a few upgrades and bring it to Piero, you can turn it into a semi-automatic weapon, which is kind of ridiculous. Perfect for when things start getting out of hand, and if stealth isn't really your thing, well, just pull out the pistol and start blasting. So while I'm making many widows in the background, I just want to use this moment to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the video so far, and of course leave a like so I can get sweet algorithm points. And if you're looking to join a community, then may I suggest my own Discord server. It's a pretty cool place where people make fun of me more than they actually talk to me. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, High Overseer Campbell. You will find him just outside the dining room on the second floor. He's about to bring Captain Colonel in with the intentions of poisoning him. And if you have a keen eye, you will see a bottle of wine on the table. Interacting with it, the game gives you a few options. You can do the old switcheroo and trick Campbell into drinking the poison himself.
And die. Plague you, useless incompetent! I never liked you.
What in the world? Campbell? He's dead. Guards! Guards, get in here!
Which is convenient. Not entirely sure how Corvo knows which glass he'll pick, but we'll roll with it. If you're feeling a bit unhinged, you can poison both glasses and kill both.
You can't seriously expect me to... Campbell, this wine's rather strong.
Is it? You're not a lightweight, are you?
Or do absolutely nothing and let Colonel die, then take Campbell out quietly and slip out through the window, nice and clean. But there's one more option, smash the glasses. This forces Campbell to move Colonel to a more secluded location. his hidden chamber in the basement.
There's a pretty lady in it. I don't.
Ah! Campbell! You fucking snake! I'll see you dead.
Although, if you've already opened that room earlier, things get a bit weird. Everyone in the building suddenly panics the moment the dining room doors open, because apparently Campbell was supposed to be the one to open it. So instead, he just sprints all the way down there on his own. It's a bit broken. There is one more additional objective you will need to remember with this target, and that's Captain Colonel. Callista back at the Hound Pits wants us to keep him alive, which by the way is again entirely optional. We have no other choice but to knock him out and place him in a safe place, but once he's out the way, you can deal with Campbell in any way you desire. But remember when I said you don't have to kill anyone in this game? I wasn't kidding, there's a non-lethal alternative. Before entering the building, you can listen in on a conversation between two members of the Abbey, and they talk about something called branding. Apparently, if anyone is caught breaking the 7 strictures, they are branded and exiled. With this information, we can bring Campbell to the interrogation room and brand him. By doing this, you keep your hands clean and let the Abbey deal with him instead. Just remember to take his black book since it contains Emily's location. Now we just have to leave through the courtyard in the back and meet Samuel. However, you can go through the level again if you want more goals or if you want to make sure you haven't left any runes behind. If you haven't, then great, mission complete.
From the way I hear it, Campbell lived a pretty posh life. Maybe it's not my place to say, but men of the faith shouldn't live like barons. You ready to go?
On the way back to the Hound Pits, it's hard not to reflect on what just happened. With Corvo's skill and now the power of the Void, dealing with Campbell was easy, too easy, and not in the sense that the game lacks challenge, but from a narrative perspective. This is just the beginning, and already we managed to take out one of the main targets behind the Empress assassination without much resistance, which raises a question: what else are we capable of? Because the more you play, the more the game tempts you into killing. More guards, more encounters, more opportunities to take the quicker, more violent path. It's a fun and efficient way of playing the game, but it comes at a cost. One the game doesn't fully spell out right away. If you want Dunwall to have any kind of future, restraint becomes just as important as skill, and in a strange way, it almost feels like you're playing two completely different games depending on how you approach it, but we'll get into that later. Just on the dock, Callista shares her gratitude and even gives us some cash.
Here. I know you did this for the right reasons, but I want you to take this as a reward. It's an old heirloom one of my aunts gave me.
Obviously, if you somehow manage to cock up that rescue mission, you don't get anything. But to be honest, it's only like 200 coins, so you're not really missing out on much.
You did it! Somehow you took down the High Overseer Campbell against the odds.
We find Havelock and Pendleton celebrating in the courtyard with a fun shooting game. They congratulate us for the kill and save a Martin. With the loyalists back together, they can start planning future missions, and with Campbell's black book in our possession, we can locate where Emily is being kept. What, you gonna watch me fucking sleep or what? We head off to bed to get some well-earned rest, and wake up the next day to do some more dirty work. Havelock can be found outside by the sewer stairs, and suspects there may be some unwanted guests down there.
I hate to start your day with such a strange matter, but the servants heard something last night, moving through the storm drains beneath the building. Most likely a weeper, the poor bastard.
Of course, he wants us to deal with them, the lazy dickhead. So we take the key and head on down. What we find is honestly kinda sad. These are known as weepers, essentially victims of the plague that are far too gone. The disease has destroyed their immune system, leaving their bodies entirely exposed to parasites. Flies can be seen and heard when you get too close to them. They're hatching inside their bodies. Weepers always attack on sight, suggesting their thought process is clouded by the plague. This is where some of the morals go a bit grey again. Knocking them unconscious seems like the right thing to do. Perhaps there's still hope for them if we leave them be, but we're only prolonging their suffering. There is no coming back from this, even if there was to be a cure. There isn't a right answer, and that's something Dishonored does a lot. It leaves you in that grey area and lets you sit with it. Returning to the pub, we find Havelock having a cold one while Will doing his dirty work. Again, dickhead. Martin has now arrived at the Hound Pits, and he's already discussing the next plan with Havelock. They have found Emily. Turns out she's being kept at a bathhouse known as the Golden Cat. It's more of a brothel than anything, and it turns out it's a location the Pendletons frequently use. So with this mission, we have two objectives: save Emily and eliminate the Pendleton twins. Their own brother is the one who suggested this plan, by the way, which is kind of fucked, but his reasoning is justified. His twin brothers are not exactly the best kind of people, but more importantly, they hold seats in Parliament in the Lord Regent's name. They're both his political voice and support, so if we remove them, the Lord Regent won't be able to further consolidate his power.
I'll take you to the Golden Cat when you're ready. I've taken Lord Pendleton enough times, believe me.
Joining Samuel once again, we return to the Distillery District. The second mission does reuse the first area, but there are some slight changes this time. For example, the Wall of Light has been replaced with a goddamn defense tower that shoots grenades, and it's put on full display by targeting a bunch of poor old weepers trying to flee. The City Watch isn't interested in containing the problem anymore, they're just removing it. Just like last time, you can disable this by simply removing the fuel cell, or if you want to unleash chaos, rewire the thing and watch it absolutely decimate everything within view. So, quite a lot has happened since the last time we were here. Overnight, the place has somehow turned into a war zone. Currently, the Bottle Street gang are having a turf war with the very assassins who killed the Empress. And no, these guys are not pushovers. There's only a few of them you will encounter, but it's enough to make it memorable. They share similar powers as Corvo, suggesting they are also best friends with our boy, the Outsider. I just want to quickly go over the sword mechanics, because this is when the game begins to slowly expose you to more skilled fighters. Some guards, such as City Watch officers, have the ability to dodge your attacks and even kick you back. Patience is important here, as it's always better to let them attack you, because if you block in time, you can parry their attack and open them up for a quick kill. And my god, I honestly forgot just how brutal this game can be. Corvo shows absolutely zero mercy with a sword. His kills are quick and sometimes very messy, but it really drives home just how skilled he is compared to the common soldier. They are nothing to him. And it's only more graphic if you have the bloodthirsty skill. After a kill, your screen turns into a red haze as you enter a rage, and by holding control, you will throw a devastating attack that will kill anyone with a single blow. Perfect if you want to go for a violent approach if stealth is something you really don't care about, you just want action. There is something else that's happened here, and it's something we caused. If you chose to poison the distillery, you will cause the plague to run rampant in this district. Many weepers can be found under the bridge and within the distillery. We weakened the Bottle Street gang, but only caused the suffering of many others. Rats will also infest the levels with a lot more volume, and more guards will patrol the streets. Depending on how you view it, you've only made the game harder for yourself, but I have a different opinion about that. This is known as the Chaos system. Certain actions and choices will add chaos points and will alter the levels to reflect the path you're on. High chaos will make Dunwall more guarded and cautious. the city begins to acknowledge there's a masked killer on the loose, leading to the City Watch becoming paranoid. Their dialogue will change, they patrol more areas and plaster your mask all over Dunwall, claiming you to be a monster. However, if you keep your chaos level low, not much will change. Weepers won't appear in certain levels, rats are a lot less frequent, and the City Watch are a lot more relaxed. Most of the changes are subtle, but it's enough to make it feel like you're playing two different games. Low chaos feels like there's still hope for Dunwall as it remains calm, somewhat safe, and people aren't aware of what you're doing. High chaos is the opposite. It's more hostile, cynical, and people believe you're a monster. There's been a lot of discussion around this mechanic. Some people see it as a morality system, like the game is punishing you for doing the wrong thing, and I get that, but that's not what's really happening here. The game isn't judging you, it's reacting to you. The world shifts based on how you play and adapts in a way that feels believable. If you're aggressive and violent, the game leans into that. More guards, more resistance, and obviously more chaos. If you play quietly, keep your hands clean, things stay calmer. There's less tension, less hostility, and if you sit somewhere in the middle, the game adjusts to that too. It never forces you into one playstyle, it just supports whatever path you choose. And honestly, both approaches are just as fun. Going full chaos is intense and unpredictable, but trying to make it through the game without killing anyone, that's a challenge in itself, and it gives you a completely different perspective on the story. If you decide to head towards the Bottle Street Gang's hideouts, you will notice they're now friendly towards you, and this is because Slackjaw has a job for us.
He is a villain if I judge your looks aright. A villain I might have some work for.
We find him inside the distillery, and he wants to find out who's been killing his men. And I mean, my guess would be the assassins hang around the district, but Slackjaw believes Dr. Galvani is responsible. So he sends us back to his home to find one of his men who has gone missing, and when we return to his lab, we find the lad dead on the table. Beside him we find an audiograph, and when we bring it back to Slackjaw, it contains some of the best voice acting I've heard in a game.
And you'll never believe who it is either. At first I did. That's why it's taken me so long. I wanted to be sure. And what's that? Hide it! No! No! Ah!
So Crowley's dead.
Basically, someone wants to kill Slackjaw and take over his distillery. This doesn't seem to affect him, and he remains as cool as a cucumber. For our efforts, he gives us a new way into the Golden Cat. If you ignored this little side job, the only way there is through an alleyway which is well guarded. However, using Slackjaw's route, it brings us straight onto the rooftops opposite where we need to go. This option is a no-brainer, as it allows you to sneak into the building undetected and gives you easy access to exactly where we need to go. And I will get into that in just a second, because before leaving the distillery, Slackjaw has a new job for us. The Golden Cat is having an invitational party, and among the people attending is an art dealer known as Bunting. Slackjaw had his men rob his home while he was away and discovered a large safe. This is where we come in. He wants us to retrieve the code from the man, and if we're successful, the Bottle Street Gang will handle the twins for us. Bunsen can be found inside a peculiar room within the Golden Cat. Turns out the man is a masochist, and when we start shocking him, well, he enjoys it.
Oh, that's good. I deserve that one.
You are one creep, motherfucker.
Keep shocking him, however, he will use his safety words.
Ah! Retribution! Retribution!
But personally, I'm not satisfied yet, so I didn't stop.
We're done, I said. Retribution! Now let me out!
Eventually, he does catch on and tries to bargain with us. We request a safe code from him, and he instantly gives it up. Cheers, mate. If you want to be a little devious, you could always, rob the safe yourself before heading back to Slackjaw. His house is just opposite Dr. Galvani's, and it's been absolutely ransacked by the gang. The only way to get inside the safe is by killing the lads inside. This, for some reason, doesn't actually change your relationship with Slackjaw, but okay. Regardless, we held our end of the deal, and this automatically deals with the Pendletons in brutal fashion. Slackjaw intends to kidnap them, shave their heads, and force them to work inside their own minds, but that's not the worst part. To ensure they don't go around telling people who they are, he's going to cut their tongues out. It's pretty fucked and actually makes you think, are they just better off dead in that case? Because, I can't imagine anything worse than that. Of course, if you want to handle things yourself, this is where the Golden Cat really opens up. It's heavily guarded, spread across multiple floors, and surprisingly open, which makes tracking enemy movement a bit of a pain. Luckily, the game gives you a tool to deal with that. This is Dark Vision, basically wall hacks from the void. It highlights enemies through walls, and when upgraded, even reveals loot and power sources. It's incredibly useful, maybe a bit too useful, because personally I never used it. It takes a lot of the tension out of the game. When you know where everyone is at all times, you lose that sense of risk. Yeah, it's powerful, but it feels like you're cheating yourself from having a good time. Oh, total accident by the way, the hell? If you decide to enter the building through the window, you can listen in on a conversation between the owner and a guard. Just like that, we learn they're keeping Emily in the attic, and the stairs to it are only through this door. No guards will be found up here, and that makes sense. The Pendletons are trying to keep her a secret, and they wouldn't want nosy guards snooping around up here.
Who are you? Why are you wearing that mask? Corvo? Corvo, it's you! You're wearing a mask to sneak around, aren't you?
We find Emily perfectly safe, a wholesome moment in a rather bleak game. Their reunion is brief though. Emily guides us to an exit, but of course, we have some unfinished business. She heads on through with the promise she will keep herself safe, and we return to the Golden Cat to kill the twins. Depending on your chaos level, they may be moved around. On high chaos, the guards keep them close and have them secured on the top floor in separate rooms. There is only a single well-guarded door leading into them, but you can bypass all the guards by using the balcony. Entering Morgan's room first, we see him distracted with a worker, so I took this opportunity to place a razor wire on the back of his head. Now the kill was funny, but it wasn't satisfying. Reloading a save, I made the kill feel more personal. But this only turned the building into a fucking war zone. Back to the drawing boards. This time I had a much better, more sadistic idea. I instead knocked Morgan unconscious and stashed his body somewhere safe, for now. Then I went and retrieved his brother from the smoking room and placed them both on a bed along with a few of their guards and blew them up. Bon voyage. Now that's what I call explosive results. Now let's say you've managed to keep the game at low chaos. This actually changes how the level plays out. Custard will be found on the top floor, that much stays the same. Morgan on the other hand gets moved down into the bathhouse. Even better, there are a lot less guards patrolling the building and only 2 elite officers stand in your way of Morgan. Though don't underestimate these guys. Elite guards are the toughest soldiers from the City Watch. These lads will put up a fight. A fucking head. What the fuck? But this is where I saw a golden opportunity. What if I could game this system and get Morgan killed without ever directly touching him? This is going to require 2 different powers to pull off, and I'm not going to talk about what exactly you can do with them just yet, but this is the plan. Slow time just as the guard shoots, possess Morgan and place him directly in front of the bullets. Okay, so technically I did kill him and the game can't be tricked. Too bad. What if I can make it look like an accident? Well, if you enter the maintenance room and use this valve, you can crank up the temperature and cook that motherfucker. Not your style? Okay, how about this? Use a fish to sneak into the room and kill him the old-fashioned way.
Come to Birmingham! Come to fucking Birmingham!
Dealing with Custis on low chaos basically plays out the same. Deal with him in any way you see fit and get the hell out of there. Taking the exit Emily showed us brings you into a small underground part in the Distillery District, where we find our good old friend, Granny Rags. To get some payback for causing some unfortunate events in this area, I killed her. What the fuck? Okay, turns out she does have some kind of connection to the void. Emily somehow managed to make her way to Samuel completely unscathed, which is pretty impressive considering how dangerous we made this place. We get on the boat and return to the Hound Pits, a much less glamorous place, but at least Emily will be safe.
So you did the business, did you, Corvo? I'm not one to speak against my betters, mind you, but if anybody ever deserved their fate, it was those Pendletons.
On the trip back, Samuel and Emily have a wholesome interaction. Despite what she's been through, her innocence is still there.
What business are you talking about?
Oh, grown-up business, girl. I mean, your ladyship. Forgive me.
It's okay. I heard a lot of grown-up business at the Golden Cat.
Oh, I should concentrate on piloting this boat.
They welcome her with open arms, and Havelock congratulates us for another successful mission, but there is still much to be done.
Votes in Parliament. In one night, you've done more than most men do in a lifetime. I need to speak to you soon, but for now, Lord Pendleton requests your attention.
If you chose to spare the twins, Lord Pendleton actually acknowledges this and is somewhat relieved there was another way to get rid of them, but saying that, I don't think he has any idea what we did to them. Either way, he pays you in literal gold bars for sparing their lives. Anyway, back to business. Havelock has learned through Campbell's journal that the Lord Regent has a secret lover who is potentially financing him. He's using her money to control the City Watch, so if we cut off that stream of money, he will lose that support along with his allies. Problem is, her name is never revealed. The only clue we have is a painting of her created by Anton Sokolov, the royal physician to the Empress. There's no time to waste here. Sokolov is currently home, so now is the perfect time to kidnap him. This level is slightly different and I won't be lingering around long for this one. It's still a fun little mission, but it is very linear. We basically have to make our way through a few narrow streets and cross a bridge in the middle to reach Sokolov's home. There's of course multiple ways to get around, but they're nowhere near to the same level of degree compared to the last missions. There's also very little change between high and low chaos. Low chaos, the mission is pretty easy. Guards patrol a lot less, and that's really about it I think. On high chaos, guards obviously patrol more, but also hounds will appear alongside some of them, but not really enough to amp up the challenge. Saying that, there is some good loot on this level, one of them being the first stealth upgrade for your boots. These reduce the sound of your normal walking speed. With this, you don't have to constantly crouch everywhere whenever guards are nearby, and when you find the second blueprint, you can run around without making a single sound. It's pretty overpowered. After bypassing the guards in the first area, we enter a much nicer part closer to the bridge. Exploring this part is definitely worth it because there is a bunch of nice loot to find, including a new shrine.
Rivers change course over many lifetimes, and eventually all bridges tumble down.
He gives us a bit more insight into the runes. Apparently, they were created over 1,000 years ago by people from a city that once stood here. He also talks about Sokolov, a man obsessed with the void. He spent years studying the runes trying to make contact, even going as far as performing rituals. But none of it worked, because the outsider doesn't reveal himself just to anyone, only those he finds interesting. And despite being a genius, Sokolov isn't one of them, which probably explains why he's seen as a bit unhinged. His search for the void hasn't enlightened him, it's just slowly driven him mad. Despite all that, he's still widely respected because he's one of the few people actually trying to save Dunwall. His elixir is the only thing that slows the plague, even if it's not a cure, and while he continues searching for a real solution, it's clear he hasn't found one yet. As we reach the bridge, we discover it's pretty well guarded. Soldiers are everywhere and have even placed arc pylons that will zap your ass if you get too close. Okay. The range on this thing is pretty insane and getting around it can be annoying, but just like the Wall of Light, this can either be disabled or rewired, turning everyone around it to dust. If you want to get around it altogether, then how about using something to distract the guards? This is the swarm of rats, and it does exactly what the name implies. It spawns dozens of rats to appear out of the ground and will attack anything they can get their hands on, the cute, dirty buggers. It's more of a powerful distraction as they won't do a whole lot of damage. Well, not unless you upgrade it. The rats will have more health and deal more damage, distracting the guards long enough for you to do more evil deeds. But where this power really shines is when you combine it with possession. Possession lets you take control of living creatures, including rats, and once you're in control, you can slip through vents, access hidden paths, and reach areas you normally couldn't. It completely changes how you move through the level. The same goes for the hagfish, not quite as useful but still gets the job done. And of course, you can possess guards as well and gain access to restricted areas like you own the gaff. Once you're on the bridge, there's only one thing to do, and that's turning off the floodlights for Samuel. And that's about it. Sokolov's home is not too far from here, but if you're wondering, yes, you can get to the very top of this bridge, making this the highest point in the game. And I wanted to get back down in style. Oh, okay, let me run that back. Hell yeah. I haven't mentioned this yet, but you can break your fall from any height using a poor guard. The laws of physics don't apply to Corvo, and it's one of the coolest ways to take someone out. Reaching the other side of the bridge and passing through one more area, we enter the north end of Coldwind's Bridge that's in ruin. It's unknown as to why it's in this state, but based on the symbols on the wall and the people being kept behind the wall of light, it's obvious this place suffered heavily from the plague, and perhaps the City Watch were responsible for destroying the buildings here as a desperate attempt to contain it. Sokolov's home is not too far from here, which is odd when you first think about it. Why would someone who has strong ties to the Empire still live here? Well, since he's actively looking for a cure, it makes sense for him to remain in a district that suffered from the plague. Well, that would be my guess. Anyway, getting into his home is pretty easy, and you can skip most of it by blinking onto the greenhouse on the roof. Sokolov is inside doing some research, but I'll come back to him in just a moment, because I just want to briefly talk about how cool this place looks. It's an old industrial warehouse that's been converted into a home, no doubt a design from Sokolov himself, as it has everything he needs. He also, for some reason, just has a shit ton of guards lurking around. Oh, that looks so goofy. Not only that, it really shows off the kind of genius the man is. He's one of the most respected painters and sculptors in Dunwall, and many of his inventions are on display. He even invented the Wall of Light and Arc Pylon defences. Pretty cool stuff, but we're not here for his brains, only a name for whoever this person is in the painting. So we confront him, and to no one's surprise, he doesn't say much, and actually believes Piero sent us here to take out competition.
Who sent you? Piero? That jealous. There's no need to be his lap hound. You and I can come to an agreement.
Of course, he offers to make a deal, which I kindly turned down. Not today, bozo. For some reason, he has a woman locked away in a cage over in the corner, which is kinda creepy, but she was probably being used as a live test subject for finding a cure, which is obviously inhumane, but it shows how desperate he became. So with the package secured, all we gotta do now is bring him to Samuel and head back to the Hound Pits. After a long day, we safely bring Sokolov back for interrogation, and Havelock congratulates us once again for doing all the hard work while he does fuck all.
The royal physician is brilliant, but he was a fool to protect the Lord Regent. Sokolov gave us the elixir, the war machines. He could have made us a great nation. Now he pays the price for siding with a tyrant.
Waking up the next morning and meeting Havelock in the old dogfighting cage room, we begin questioning Sokolov on his knowledge about the Lord Regent's secret lover, and of course, he's reluctant to share anything. This is where the game offers you two options, either the high chaos option of scaring him with rats, or the low chaos option of bribery.
Curious strategy.
Of which I approve.
Sokolov loves a particular brandy that is hard to find in Dunwall, and conveniently, Piero just so happens to have a bottle. I went to go look for him, but he was nowhere to be seen. Well, not until I went back inside the pub and found him being a peeping Tom, the little scoundrel.
I was inventing a new kind of lock. The tumblers, shaped like snowflakes.
Man, shut the fuck.
Can't you see I'm about to bathe?
Piero sells us the brandy for a measly 150 coins. He shares exactly why this brandy is so desired, and it's because of its unique taste. The secret ingredient? A single drop of whale oil. Rich people shit, I guess. We give the brandy to Sokolov, and it sure wets his whistle. He begins to speak, revealing he doesn't know her name, but knows what family she comes from, the Boyles. An incredibly rich and influential line of aristocrats who are famously known for running annual masquerades at their own family home in the estate district, and there just happens to be one tonight.
A masked ball at the Boyle estate. Tonight, the timing is perfect, Corvo. But the Boyles are wealthy and ruthless, so security will be very tight.
Of course, you already have a mask, don't you, Corvo?
Before heading there, Lord Pendleton has a special request for us once we're at the party. He simply tells us to find a man named Shaw and deliver this letter, that's simple. However, we cannot read the contents of it, so we have no idea what exactly we're getting ourselves into. Probably nothing. With everything set, we meet Samuel like clockwork and get ready to crash a party. By the time we arrive at the estate district, the party is well underway, and I don't know about you, but the fact this event is happening in a time like this really says a lot about the upper class in Dunwall. The estate district is filled with some of the wealthiest people in the whole city and only accessible through invitation. You will only find the City Watch lurk in the streets here, including the newest kid on the block, the Tall Boys. These were deployed by the Lord Regent as soon as he took power because his solution to the plague is genocide. A brutal way of protecting the elites while abandoning everyone else. Tall Boys use compound bows with explosive arrows, and the stilts give them quite the reach. Dealing with them is pretty easy, and made even easier with the Wind Blast power. Wind Blast will yeet any projectiles back at them, and even throw people to the ground for an easy kill. If upgraded though, the Wind Blast becomes lethal. But wait, there's more. Doors that are locked can be destroyed using grenades, a gun, or using any fuel cells lying around. Wind Blast does the same job with making a lot less noise. But mainly it's used for killing people. Not as exciting as some of the other powers in the game, but it gets the job done. Yeah, I forgot to mention this in the script, but yeah, you can also use incendiary bolts, which is probably a much quieter than Wind Blast, to be honest. Whoops, I forgot to mention that. There are other ways of dealing with the Tall Boys, such as an aerial attack, or you can simply possess them. But I don't really know what you can do with their body. It's not like you can use the door. The objective right now is simple. We just have to find our way into the party, and there are a few ways you can do this. An obvious entry point is jump and defense. Making your way through this building and getting on the same level as the estate, you can hop the fence with ease. My preferred method is using a hagfish and swimming up the sewers underneath the building. This will bring you directly into the basement. Or steal an invitation and just walk straight through the front door, because the party is neutral territory. It's a masquerade after all. No one questions the mask, which is hilarious because if you're playing on High Chaos, your mask is plastered all over the city, but no one here cares, and that's the point. Inside, the conversations say it all. People brag about their wealth, talk about how the plague has made their lives easier, how it's benefited them. They're all completely detached, either unaware of what's happening outside or simply choosing to ignore it, and that's why no one questions you. Not because you blend in, but because they just don't care enough to notice. Their world is protected and everything beyond it might as well not exist. You're free to walk around the estate unbothered, making this level one of the more unique ones in the game. Upon entering, we overhear a discussion between two people, and it's something to do with a party game going on tonight called the Boyle cameo.
Guess which is which. Their hair and makeup are identical, but one's in red, one's in black, one's in white.
Shit! Well shit, this just got complicated. The Boyle sisters are all dressed identically. The only thing separating them are the colours of their outfits. Red, black and white. One of them is our target. This is what makes this level so fucking good. We have to play a little bit of Sherlock Holmes to identify the correct target, and we have to listen around for clues as to where to look. Or fuck it, just kill them all and call it a day.
That tastes like promotion!
One of the earliest bits of information you gain is from a woman by the fireplace. Bringing her a drink makes her reveal two names and the colours they are wearing. Waverly is in red and Lydia is in black. Cool, but that's not enough. Some guests even talk about searching their rooms for clues. The only problem is, the upstairs is off limits. The back stairs are being watched by a single guard and a wall of light blocks off the main stairway.
Wall of light is a gift from the Lord Regent, designed to keep his good friends safe. I doubt you qualify.
Only if we had one of the best powers in the game to bypass the guards.
With the boom.
Slow time is self-explanatory. The basic version of this power only slows it down, but the upgraded version completely freezes it, allowing you to run past everyone without being noticed and even run through the wall of lights. But there's obviously a lot more you can do with this power. The potential is insane. If you want to take multiple people out in a single room, you can do some crazy setups with the crossbow. Or just recreate that one scene from Logan and take them out one by one with a sword. If you're feeling a bit devious, slow time just as someone shoots and take control of them, just so you can make them walk in front of their own bullets. Oh my god, that looks so cool. Yeah, I just found this out. Like, you can take the bullets mid-air. Honestly, I'm underselling the potential of this power a lot. Trust me, I've seen some people do some crazy shit with this. Take the stealth gamer on YouTube for example. This mad lad shoots an arrow into the air, attaches a spring razor trap to it, and watches it come back down and kill a tall boy. This blew me away because I didn't even know this was possible. But if you don't have it, don't worry, there are other ways to get upstairs. Blinking onto the balcony outside is probably the easiest method, as it safely brings you into one of the Boyle rooms, and this is where it starts to get interesting. The loot up here is nice, but it also has all the information you need. The rooms aren't close to each other and guards are patrolling upstairs, but this secret access to the attic gives you all the freedom you need. You will find letters in each room with a name, as well as the colours of the dress corresponding to the sisters. It's good information, but still not enough to know which one is the Lord Regent's secret lover. And here's the great thing about this level, it's random, it could be any one of them. This changes on a fresh playthrough each time, and it isn't just a matter of switching the character around, they all have their own personalities for you to exploit. In my case, Lydia was the target, the one in black. You can kill her straight away in any way you see fit, but if you're trying to keep it low key, you can convince her to follow you to the music room.
Unchaperoned? You promise to behave yourself. We'll go to the music room.
She has a passion for music, so it doesn't take much to convince her you're not a weirdo. If Waverly is your target, you can exploit her paranoia. She's convinced someone is out to kill her, and you can convince her you're here to protect her. If Esme's your target, you can exploit how down bad she is.
Oh, hello, handsome. That sounds lovely. Why don't you come with me?
She basically would take you upstairs to her room to do the deeds, but not the deeds she had in mind. I just love how this level likes to shake things up a bit. It takes the whole immersive sim approach to a new level, as it alters on a new playthrough. No other level has done that so far. Yeah, anyway, if you want to skip everything that makes this mission so great, you can meet this guy in the living room as soon as you enter the building. And he will just completely dox the person you are looking for. This is the non-lethal approach. What he wants is simple, the woman he loves. Well, actually stalking. This guy is obsessed with whoever your target is and attempted to kidnap her many years ago. He's come back for round 2. And he knows exactly why we're here. He makes a deal. Bring the target down into the basement and he will kidnap her, which honestly is pretty messed up.
You found her! Quickly, let's get her on board.
Wait, that killed her! Wait.
Last. Oh, my love. Someday you will understand. You'll never know how happy you
But she's dead. Wait, what?
learn to appreciate me.
Hold on.
She'll have her whole life.
What the fuck? That was... She's dead, bro. I don't know what to tell you. You may have noticed at this point, The non-lethal options are just as evil as killing them. This is where that whole morality argument falls apart. No matter which approach you choose, they're neither good nor evil. It sits in the middle. Yeah, these are bad people, but what makes you any different? With the Lord Regent's lover dealt with, he's now lost his financial power. And now, it's time to deliver a letter for Lord Pendleton. You will find Shaw in the gardens, and when handing over the letter, we get a somewhat confusing reaction, and then he challenges us to a 1v1.
Pendleton is a gutless, lying sack of shit. I hope he's paying you well for this.
Now, you have to be clinically brain dead to fuck this up, and once he's dead, the guards just go back inside for drinks.
And that's another patron dead. What do we do now? It's lucky we're in demand. I hear the Estermonts pay top coin. No use trying them tonight. Let's see if we can find a little brandy. Let the Boyles clean up the mess.
However, you can choose to ignore this objective and just leave the party like nothing ever happens.
I hope you enjoyed your evening, sir. But we'd best be on our way. Quickly.
Returning to the Hound Pits and meeting Pendleton in the warehouse, he congratulates us for yet another successful mission and upholding his reputation by killing his rival.
Personally, I heard you upheld my name in a rather spectacular style and at some risk to yourself. I want to thank you for it.
Yeah, turns out he just wanted someone out of the picture he didn't like. Pretty petty if you ask me, but hey, at least he gives us a room for it. If you chose not to offshore, he shows an awkward and displeased reaction.
I've heard from Lord Shaw this morning, which means my note was not delivered. This puts me in an awkward position. But then, you weren't the one who said his wife had the face of a plague-ridden. Thank you. I will try not to overburden you in future missions.
Ah, I see how it is. The man didn't have the guts to get his own hands dirty, it seems. I do think this is actually quite an important moment, because this is the first time we're asked to kill someone that really didn't deserve it. It sort of implies that we're nothing but a tool for them. Havelock is waiting for us in his chamber to discuss the final mission, but there are some interesting things we return to. For example, an anonymous letter has been left by our bed, thanking us for sparing Lady Boyle, and it's clear it's from one of the other Boyles from the family. Kinda odd, but hey, they left a room for us. Heading down into the bar and talking with Callista, we learn Emily is avoiding her studies by hiding somewhere. Checking her room in the tower, there are some slight changes depending on your chaos level. For example, on low chaos, we can find an innocent drawing of this tower with a lovely rainbow in the background, depicting Dunwall in a much more hopeful light. Though on high chaos, it's quite the opposite. We find a drawing of a masked man storming Dunwall Tower with red-eye rats. It doesn't seem all bad, but it's clear on high chaos, she knows what we're doing and is changing her view of us. Along with that, a new drawing appears on the wall of a giant rat attacking someone. It's subtle, but a good indication that our actions are not only affecting the city, but also the people around us. Hopefully, this doesn't turn Emily into a bleak and cynical person in the future. Meeting Havelock in his chambers, he begins to lay out the plans for the Lord Regent, the final target. After we've severed all his power, he's now holding out inside the Dunwall Tower with the only loyal allies he has left. He knows we're coming, but luckily his men are stretched thin, leaving the waterlock to the tower exposed. The perfect place for Samuel to park his boat and leave us to do all the dirty work. This is one of the only levels in the game with very little to no difference in terms of your chaos level. The Lord Regent has heavily fortified the tower out of extreme paranoia and has guards patrolling everywhere, making it very hard to sneak in undetected. And damn, I just love the way this place looks. It gives me serious Half-Life vibes, and there's a good reason for that. Viktor Antonov, the art director of Half-Life 2, created the unique art style of Dishonored. The game was inspired by Victorian architecture with industrial steampunk flavour added to it. He not only designed many of the buildings, but also the props and equipment you can interact with. And the cherry on top is the oil painting aesthetic this game has, which really helps it age like fine wine, and it's why I sometimes forget it's 14 years old at this point. To get inside Dunwall Tower, we obviously need to bypass the heavily guarded courtyard. Tall boys, defense towers with spotlights, and not to mention the shit ton of guards patrolling. It's kind of hard to get into this place without being spotted, and trust me, this mission can either be the easiest in the game or one of the hardest if the alarms get raised. You can either climb along the ridge and enter the tower through a vent, or use a fish to swim through a drain hole. Hell, the front door is an option if you're feeling like a mad lad. Once inside, the goofy TV screen on the stairs immediately grabs your attention, and the Lord Regent announces to his guards that he's returning to his chambers, because he thinks it's safe.
I need the comfort of my own bed tonight. I trust you and your men can handle the tower security. Double the guard if you have to.
This only happens if the alarm hasn't been raised, however, and this is what I meant when this mission can be extremely easy. If you're curious, no, the Lord Regent would not notice you if you're directly behind his guards. Bit of an awkward oversight, but if you take them out, you can confront him and have this cold option of revealing your identity.
Campbell! You're the masked villain we've been searching for. You!
As cool as that is, this will cause the entire place to kick off, and he will remain inside the safe room on top of the tower. So for now, let's see how things unfold if we just wait inside his chambers, which conveniently enough are directly above and can be accessed through the balcony. You can hide on top of his bed and eventually he will show up, prompting one of the easiest kills in the entire game. And I got creative with this one. Before I decided to camp out here, I rewired the electrical wall outside and just waited for him to show up just so I could do this. If you were to be spotted before the kill, the Lord Regent would then bolt back to his safe room, but he would never attack you, so I body blocked him on the stairs. However, this strange encounter gave me a light bulb moment. The Lord Regent will remain inside his safe room if the alarm is to be raised. It's more difficult to get to him, but arguably makes the whole level a lot more fun. Inside is just as protected, if not even more. Dunwall Tower is all narrow hallways, so sneaking around this place can be a pain in the arse, because guards patrol majority of the rooms. Though saying that, none of this really matters when majority of the important areas are very close to the front entrance and can be easily accessed with a few blinks, including the rooftop. So while the Lord Regent chills inside his chambers, I went to his safe room and tampered with the Wall of Light. Then let's say I was to be spotted, I can just simply follow him back and then watch my plan unfold. If you want the kill to be a lot more personal, which I don't blame you, you can sneak in through a convenient opening and he's free for the taking. That's what I tried to do in a different playthrough and my entire game just bugged out. For some reason, everyone in the building just didn't attack me. Wait, what the fuck? What is going on right now? What the fuck? And I was able to walk around without any problems, even after killing the Lord Regents. Wait, they don't care. There's an extra optional objective in the tower, and that's killing the torturer down in the basement. No one told us to do this, by the way, so I think this is more of a personal vendetta for Corvo, since he was brutally tortured for months by this guy. There's of course a non-lethal approach to this mission. Entering the propaganda tower and talking with this guy, we learn the Lord Regent has kept an audiograph containing his confession.
He makes recordings on audiograph, secrets, some that would destroy him if others heard.
As to why he kept this around, well, perhaps he feels guilty for what he has done, not to us, but to Dunwall as a whole. We can find the audiograph inside a safe in his chambers, and we can broadcast across Dunwall through the radio in the tower, and by doing this, we learn a massive revelation.
If I explain, then you will see I am not at fault. My poverty eradication plan was meant to bring prosperity to the city.
He does yap for quite a bit, so I will summarise it. The Lord Regent himself was responsible for the plague. His plan was to wipe out the poor in Dunwall to bring prosperity to the wealthy elites. That plan, however, backfired. He underestimated how much the rats would breed, and the plague reached levels the Empress couldn't contain anymore. He tried talking her into more drastic measures, but she wanted to save majority of the city, including the poor. As time went on and things got worse, he then decided to have Jessamine killed, so he could take control of the city and solve the plague in the way he saw fit. With the City Watch now knowing the truth, you can witness the Lord Regent being arrested. Well, he gets arrested if your chaos level is low. On high, he just resists.
No amount of money will undo that. Hold on, someone's down.
So that was the final target. A pretty uneventful and anticlimactic kill, but you know the video is far from over. Returning to Samuel one last time and arriving home, we meet the whole gang inside the Hound Pits already celebrating our victory.
That's it. The Lord Regent's done. Farewell to Hiram Burroughs, you scheming piece of shit. Now we can bend the law to pardon our past crimes, Corvo. We'll find out the assassin the Lord Regent sent to butcher the Empress. Then you can have your revenge.
They all share a drink and discuss the future of Dunwall, whilst respecting Emily as their new Empress.
Emily comes first. In a pinch, Wallace could manage the estate.
Things are looking up. Martin is excited about leading the Abbey with legitimate authority, while Havelock is thinking about returning to the Navy under Emily's leadership. Pendleton is thinking of hiring the maids from the Hound Pits to work at his estate, and better yet, Emily has retained her innocence despite everything that happened to her.
Corvo! Everyone says you did something good tonight.
However, this is only if you manage to keep your hands clean. Because on High Chaos, this celebratory moment is a lot more cynical.
Did you kill anybody tonight? How many?
Emily can be seen drawing Corvo on top of a pile of corpses. Martin is fearing the Abbey is far too gone to be healed, as corruption is deeply interwoven with it. But even worse, they begin to resent the thought of Emily ruling the city, implying she doesn't deserve that kind of power after everything they've done.
We do all this work, all this risk, so that a child can assume leadership of an empire in chaos. I give us very slim odds. All of us.
Emily will revoke the warrant on you tomorrow. Until then, legally there's still a fairly lavish reward, so I'd keep your head down and your mask on.
This little moment really does reflect Corvo's journey. He's either given this city hope of being restored, or has left it in a state beyond repair. The game can only resume once we get a good night's sleep, but upon entering a room, Corvo collapses.
Samuel, you move like you've been drinking. Did the poison work its magic? Is he dead?
And colour me in complete surprise, we have been betrayed. It appears we were nothing more than just a pawn for Havelock. He didn't want justice, he wanted power. And now that they have Emily and the body of the man who murdered the Empress, they can come out as the heroes and use Emily as a puppet for their own gain. If this moment tells us anything, it's that the plague isn't Dunwall's disease, it's corruption. Thankfully, Samuel only gave us half the poison with the hopes we survive, but depending on your chaos level, he has two very different reactions to this. He either resents you for all the bodies you left behind, or thinks you're the only good man left in the city.
Why I keep sticking my neck out for you eludes me. I can hardly blame them for turning on you, after all the people slaughtered in the name of this cause. I'm sorry something terrible, Corvo, but I only gave you half the poison. They were watching me and it was all I could think to do. I think you're strong enough to survive that.
Either way, he knows you're the only one who can stop Emily from being exploited.
I'll put you on a raft and then I've got to ship out myself before they find out I've gone against their wishes. Snakes. They'll want to do the same to me as soon as I've outlived my uses. Hopefully you'll wake up and find your way out of this cursed city.
After Samuel places us onto a boat, we wake up sometime later and find ourselves in the flooded district, which is the last place you want to find yourself because not only is it ridden with the plague, but also the assassins behind the murder of Jessamine.
Poison. Tibian stuff. Amateur work. He'll live. That's up to Dowd.
They capture Corvo and bring him face to face with Dowd, the knife of Dunwall himself.
I recognize those marks on your hand. A gift from your friend. The one who talks to you in the dark. Talks to you when you visit his shrines. I visited those shrines too.
He doesn't know what side we fight for, and to save his own skin, decides to tie up a loose end. Waking up in the void once more, We have one brief encounter with the outsider, even wondering himself as to why they betrayed us. Perhaps it's simply due to the fact they knew we wouldn't have gone along with their plan and thought getting rid of us was just easier for them.
Did they do it to protect themselves, so no one would ever know what they'd done? Or was it because they were a single move away from controlling an empire, and they knew you'd never let them manipulate Emily? Maybe none of these. Perhaps that's just the nature of man.
We wake up sometime later and find ourselves inside an old oil drum with probably the worst security imaginable. Using our powers, we break out with ease and steal a weapon from the assassin, and we begin movement towards our equipment through the flooded district. This is a much more linear level, but it's still just as interesting. The flooded district was once the heart of the whaling industry and other industrial facilities, but due to one of the city walls bursting, it quickly drowned. Now it's just home to weepers, and if you're on High Chaos, there's a shit ton of them. The City Watch avoid this area entirely, making it the only safe place for anyone who catches the plague, and of course, the best place for Dal to set up base. The objective is to find the man himself and retrieve the sewer key from him, as it's the only way back into the city. But before that, it's best we retrieve our gear from the Greaves Whale House, one of the main whale oil companies in Dunwall. And if you didn't know how inhumane whaling was in the real world, you can actually learn just how cruel it was in this game. They catch them alive at sea, and oil is harvested from them while they're still alive. This brutal act is what pushed the Empire into a new age, through cruelty. Your gear can be found at the bottom of this building, and hey, would you look at that? Our old pal Campbell is here. I guess branding him really was the worst outcome he could have had. With our equipment retrieved, we head through some doors and enter what was once the financial district. Dowd's base is located inside an old bank, and his men are everywhere. Stealth is pretty challenging here, but I encourage it. Taking on assassins who share similar powers to you can be quite the headache. Luckily, Dowd isn't too far, and when you find him, you can hear him going over the events that unfolded in the city after he killed the Empress, something he deeply regrets.
So many schemes you had, and so many contracts. How many people did I kill for you? None like the last. None like her. I'd give back all the coin if I could. No one should have to kill an Empress.
Now, Dowd doesn't appear much in the game, but he's easily the best character in the franchise. Just like a lot of the characters in this game, he's morally grey. Yes, he is technically a bad person, since he does kill for money, but mostly targets wealthy nobles and aristocrats. However, after killing the Empress, he feels responsible for plunging the city into chaos and the misery he's caused. You may notice right here, killing Dowd is entirely optional. All we need from him is the sewer key, which can be pickpocketed, but if you decide he does deserve to die, he won't go down without a fight. His men back him up, but to force a one-on-one, he slows time. A very subtle way of telling you he's on your level. The tricks we've been using up until this point in the game won't work on him, but he's still very vulnerable to parrying, which is how I beat him in the end.
I have one more surprise for you. I ask for my life.
In a twist, Dowd will then ask you the favour of sparing his life. He understands all the wrong he has done, but believes in second chances. For all the gold in the city, he would take that day back if he could.
When I killed your Empress and took her daughter, something broke inside me.
And depending on how you've been playing this game, it can really change how you view this moment. If you kept your hands clean, you might believe Dowd deserves real justice for his actions as opposed to killing him. Maybe letting him live with the burden of guilt is more of a punishment. Maybe Dowd isn't really our enemy and was just a tool like us.
Fool! We're of the same breed, you and I. We kill for others. You think I'm your enemy? I've never lied to you.
However, if you spent the entire game killing everyone, you would be a hypocrite to judge him. All the countless lives you have taken makes you no different to Dowd. So perhaps if there's a chance at redemption, maybe Corvo will have one too. Or maybe Corvo is so conditioned with killing now and only sees death as the only solution here. If he's gone, then we will know for sure Emily will be safe. It's a small moment that carries a lot of weight. because again, it's morally grey, and that's what makes Dishonored so timeless. In the end, I gave Dowd his second chance, only because I have the full context of his story.
Unexpected.
The Knife of Dunwall and the Brigmore Witches really adds a lot to Dowd's character, and before this encounter, he was already on the path of redemption. And maybe if this video does well, I will make a video on the DLCs, so hit the like button. With the sewer key, we quickly move through a drainage pipe and find ourselves in the middle of a dumping ground. This is the Lord Regent's brutal answer to the plague, genocide. He was using the flooded district for corpse disposal, which is incredibly grim. Even worse, those who are still alive are just left here to die.
Basement. There's no hospital, I told you that. You think they round people up because there's a cure?
They're city guards. They're supposed to protect people.
Using the body cart to safely bypass the courtyard, we return to the old port district. There is just one sewer system we need to travel through, and nothing entirely noteworthy happens here if you're on low chaos. Survivors replace all the weepers, making it pretty uneventful. Entirely different story here on high chaos though, because as soon as you enter, you find one of Slackjaw's men.
You're the masked guy's been taking down all the lords and ladies. No way through this gate unless you got the sewer key.
He and his crew chased Granny Rags down here to, I assume, kill her, but she fought them off using her connection to the void. This is optional, but you can go the opposite direction, and you can find her preparing Slackjaw for a high protein meal.
On your bones.
Hey! Someone kill this crazy witch! I could make you rich!
You can leave her to do exactly that, but she's fucking weird, so I decided to save him. This puts you into a battle with Granny Rags, but it's not really a fight. All you have to do is burn the cameo she draws power from, and we did Dunwall a favour. Slackjaw pays us some cash, and we continue onward through the sewer until we eventually return to the Hound Pits.
Please, no! Oh, it's you, Corvo. Thank the stars. We all thought you'd been killed.
Upon passing through this door, Cecilia is the first person we come in contact with, and it turns out Havelock had executed all the workers, as they're all witnesses to their crime. And if you're on high chaos, Havelock turns completely evil and kills them in brutal fashion.
The Admiral brought his cutlass. He stuck Wallace through the eye with it. Then he did Lydia. Callista he shot in the back with his pistol. Emily saw it all.
Low chaos isn't any better, but at least he didn't make them suffer. The City Watch have now surrounded the building. Havelock had announced they found Emily and promptly took her to King Sparrow Island. The only way we're going to reach that place is with Samuel. He gave Callista a flare to shoot from the tower, just in case things went to shit. Piero and Sokolov have managed to lock themselves inside the workshop, and you can save them if you want. Sneaking in through a window and talking with them both, we learn they have built an advanced arc pylon with enough power to deal with anyone outside the workshop. The problem is, they need the remaining blueprints to finish it, as well as refueling the generators. The blueprints can be found in Havelock's room and fuel inside Piero's workshop. Once everything is ready, you're presented two options. Either knock all the guards unconscious, or turn them all to dust. I'm sure you can figure out which one is the high chaos one.
Amazing, simply amazing. Destruction on a grand scale. Defies description.
With Piero and Sokolov safe, we head for the tower to call Samuel to the shore, and to our surprise, Callista is alive and well if you're on low chaos and saved her uncle from Campbell. She obviously dies if you did none of those things. She goes on to explain Havelock's strange behaviour after we killed the Lord Regent, something that had been building up with each kill we committed until eventually something snapped. Perhaps killing us was a late call they made just so they can control Emily in any way they please.
Please, talk to Samuel and the others. Someone must know where they're going. Find Emily. She's suffered through so much and she's got no one else on her side except you. Samuel set this here in case you returned. You can use it to call him. He said he'd come quickly.
Wasting no time, we call Samuel to pick us up, and we head for King Sparrow Island.
Good. Then it's one more trip across the river to where it meets the sea. That's where the Lord Regent was building his new lighthouse. Ought to be something to see. The island is a bloody mess.
This is it, the final level in the game, and one that plays out very differently depending on how you went about doing things. High Chaos, the level plays out during a stormy night, and Low Chaos on a bright sunny day. It feels like after everything, there's still hope for Dunwall. It's symbolic to Corvo. Either he never lost sight of what was really important, or his desperation for revenge turned him into something far worse, a monster. Even Samuel's interaction with you on this final boat trip is different. He either shares his respect for you, or just grills you for killing so many people.
All I can say is that it's been a pleasure serving with you. Maybe after all this is settled, we'll see each other again. Good luck, Corvo. If anyone deserves it, you do. Give my best to Emily. After she's on the throne, she won't have time for an old man like me. I knew you were sharp, Corvo. But somehow you managed to get through all this mess without losing sight of what really matters. For that, I respect you. The city's gonna pull itself up, I believe. Too many good people here to let it all turn to ashes. I'd best be going. The battlefield's no place for an old sailor like me. That time is long past. Good luck, my friend. And you. I'm a little disappointed, Corvo. It's like you've gone out of your way to be brutal. It's been interesting traveling with you, but this is the last time you'll see me, sir. Goodbye. My only hope is that Emily comes out of this all right. Out, Corvo.
The mission itself remains almost entirely the same in terms of obstacles you must overcome. What is different, however, are the people who betrayed you. So let's start with High Chaos. After committing war crimes with the defense tower and infiltrating the wall, you will find Martin holding siege against the tower. Havelock, Pendleton and Martin have all turned on each other out of paranoia. Martin has fatally wounded Pendleton, and now he's held up inside the base of the tower, and Havelock, well, he's taken Emily to the top. Dealing with these two knuckleheads is entirely optional here, but it doesn't take all that much effort. If you sneak up on Martin, he has some words he wants to share with us.
Here to add me to your list? To write my name across the ground in blood? I'm not gonna plead the innocence. When we dug you out of Cold Ridge Prison, we had the best of intentions. We find Emily and strike against the Lord Regent.
Turns out they did originally have the best intentions with Emily, but after all the killing and blackmailing, it became a habit, only because it made things easier for them. In the end, Martin doesn't give Corvo the pleasure of killing him and just takes himself out instead.
I was born into nothing, and it's nothing I'll return to.
Confronting Pendleton, however, reveals far more about what really happened.
Corvo, I knew you would get here. Well, you're too late. I'm already dying without your help. A stray bullet. I'll never know whose. What could I offer you anyway? You want money? Well, I'm broke. Women, maybe? Everyone knows you were screwing the Empress. You like noble women. You should meet my cousin Celia.
Corvo and the Empress were lovers, only implying that Emily is his daughter, which is exactly why they tried to take us out. He would have never gone along with their plans to use her as a puppet. With two dead, there's just only one backstabber to deal with, Havelock. He's held up at the top of the tower, and getting up there is a lot easier than it looks. Sadly, this level is incredibly short, and doesn't give you the wiggle room of doing things your way. So let's just skip to the confrontation and end this dickhead already. Quite shabby the place he's picked to wait things out, though when searching the place, he's nowhere to be found. It's not until we step outside and hear Emily shouting.
No! Let me go!
The psycho has brought her to the edge with the intentions of throwing himself off with her. When confronting him, he begins to belittle Corvo, saying he's no hero after everything we've done for him. There is no honor to be regained.
You had your chance to be a hero. In a minute, this will just be another bloody mess you've left behind. Did you want your honor back? To rescue the lady in distress? Oh no, Corvo. That's not you.
Now, don't be like me who waited for him to finish, because I originally thought there was some options here, but nope, the fucker jumped off with Emily and gave me the worst ending possible. There are multiple ways you can deal with this. Either shoot him from a distance and pull Emily up, draw him away with possession and get a brutal kill on him, or sneak up from underneath the platform and choke him out. To close the game out, we get some pretty dark final words from Emily.
I always knew you would come. You're my hero. The others are all dead, aren't they? That's alright, because I was going to have them killed anyway. I am going to be Empress.
So, yeah, it appears our actions have corrupted her. Now, how does this all play out on Low Chaos? Well, very differently. For one, Martin and Pendleton are nowhere to be found at the base of the tower. In this version of the ending, they didn't turn on each other. Well, not entirely. When reaching the top, we find Martin and Pendleton dead. Havelock poisoned them. It turns out that Havelock wanted all the power to himself. But when the time finally came, the paranoia of being outed as a traitor and conspirator was too much for him to bear.
This is all Martin's fault. We hadn't helped Corvo get out of prison. Corvo hadn't been so damn good at his job. We hadn't gotten greedy, afraid.
If you confront him, he won't even bother to fight, only knowing it's a losing battle. Instead, he just hands over Emily without resistance, which may imply he has a sense of guilt, but when picking up the key, the guy just starts fighting you anyway, meaning we are forced to kill him. Well, you can knock him out, but we've already secured the best ending in the game, so why not?
Corvo! I knew you'd come. Is it going to be okay now? Will I be Empress?
The game concludes with some still shots, showcasing the events that unfolded after saving Emily. In the Low Chaos ending, Dunwall is saved with Emily as a wise and well-respected Empress. Piero and Sokolov work together to make a cure, and pretty much everyone has a happy ending. In the High Chaos ending, Dunwall never recovers. Emily takes the throne, but leads with fear, and doesn't do anything to fight the plague off. And the city is not only plagued with rats, but also crime. There is a third ending if Emily dies, but it's basically the same as the High Chaos one, so not much to add there. Either way, Corvo remains the Lord Protector until the end of his life, remembered as one of two things: the man who saved Dunwall, or the monster who helped destroy it. Dishonored is a game I will never forget, not because it's the biggest or the most complex, but because of what it showed me. When I first played it, I didn't really understand what made it special, I just knew it felt different. Like, the game wasn't telling me how to play, it was asking me what kind of player I wanted to be. And that's something that stuck with me, because the more I came back to it, the more I realised every playthrough felt like my story. Not one the game had written for me, but one I created within it. And yeah, maybe it's not as deep as other immersive sims, but for me, it was the gateway. The game showed me what this genre could really do. So, what is true freedom in gaming? It's not just going anywhere or doing anything, it's when a game gives you the tools and trusts you to decide what to do with them. And Dishonored, it does that better than most. Just before you go, be sure to check out my channel for more juicy content, as well as my Discord server if you want updates on future uploads and a place to chill. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and a sub, as that helps out the channel a lot, I'd appreciate that. Until then, I will see you in the next one.